Next presenter is Sean Manion, Ph.D., Chief Executive Officer at Science Distributed. Come on up, Sean.
Thank you. Wow, following Jim and Heather is both intimidating but also kind of awesome because they covered absolutely everything I would need to. So I only have one thing I want to teach you today, and that is the value proposition of bringing blockchain to scientific research. My name is Sean Manion. I'm from a new company called Science Distributed. We're just learning to crawl, so we're still focused on building a network. We haven't even gotten to the tech yet. But I come from the federal government, and I see what blockchain can do for scientific research. And for me, that is better science, cheaper research, and faster miracles. The reason those things are the three part of the value proposition is because science has very distinct and different stakeholders. The scientists, I'm a neuroscientist myself, care about better science. They care about the building blocks of our knowledge of society being correct and the things that they reference and based on being correct. And you can only get that with high quality science. So better science is something that they want to see. As a former federal research administrator with the Defense Department, I also understood the need for cheaper research and the value in that. You need to do more with less in many situations, but you still want to meet that quality mark. So that cheaper research aspect is something that I think is very valuable to a different set of stakeholders. And as for faster miracles, my mother died of cancer last year, and everybody in this room has or will be touched by someone they know suffering, dying, and a lot of times great work being done to alleviate these health problems isn't fast enough. So the faster we can get those miracles, the better we will all be off in having a little more time with our loved ones or not seeing them suffer. So I learned about blockchain where probably most of you did in a cocktail bar, or maybe not. That's unique to me. I'm a neuroscientist, so for me, I'm lucky if I can use my phone. But I was meeting with a bunch of other researchers to figure out how we can do science better. And we were meeting in a bar by Hopkins that just so happens to have hosted a Bitcoin meetup for half a decade. And the owner listened to us talk and said, "Seems like you have a trust problem. You need a blockchain." And I was like, "What? You just made up that word. That's not even a real word." But I looked it up. This is, going back a couple of years, and Debbie Bucci and the folks at Health and Human Services Office of National Coordinator had just had a white paper contest on what blockchain can do for healthcare and research, and I read those papers and my eyes opened. And I saw half a dozen different pain points that I was seeing as a federal research administrator able to be solved by this. And I saw as a scientist a whole world of different things that could be done in the longer term. So I went to my bosses and I told them all about blockchain and what it could do and change things for us. And a little like Wile E. Coyote with the rocket boots on, I hit straight into a wall. Bottom line, my sale wasn't good enough, and it didn't take. So my mother passed away. I left the federal government, and I decided to set out on trying to make this something that more people in the research area would want to get. We've been doing that, a lot of education and advocacy, and what it comes down to are those three things: better science, cheaper research, faster miracles. The better science comes because research has a little bit of a problem. There's an irreproducibility problem with some stuff out there. Everyone's trying real hard to bring data to the table and to do research and to have new findings, but sometimes those findings aren't reproducible, and that's not good science. What you get with blockchain is a whole new layer of immutability and transparency in the data, and that can bring better science to the table. And so for the scientists, I think that's the argument for what needs to be the value proposition. When it comes to cheaper research, well, I don't think it was covered today, but if anyone's not familiar, you should look it up. Jose and the GSA team and the Sapient team, they were able to reduce proposal review time by 90%, more than 90%, both in cost and time. Right now it takes 15 to 18 months for some of our best and brightest scientists to do and get funding for R01 NIH grants. If you could reduce that by even half of that 90%, you could immediately add $5 billion to every year's NIH budget. It's simply the case that a lot of money is spent on administrative costs, and if you could begin to reduce R01 review times and other things, you could get the scientists not doing paperwork, but doing research and get a lot more money for research. And then finally, with the faster miracles, there's a lot of problems in science with data being looked at by a wide variety of people quickly. Part of that is because everybody needs to have credit, both formal and informal credit for what they did, because that's the incentive system in science. And if you don't match that incentive system right, you can't get people to share their data. But if you have a tracking of everybody's contribution to the data, if you have a transactional tracking of the data, you could change the culture of science and begin to allow more people to look at data sooner. When federally funded research, I know that is a goal. It was a goal in the DoD, it's a goal in the VA, and I'm sure it's a goal in Health and Human Services. But blockchain allows that to be a possibility. So for me, those three things, better science, cheaper research, and faster miracles, are the value proposition that I think will start to get this both accepted within the federal community, but also in the broader research community. Thank you very much.